Welcome back. Still to come, Miss Moneypenny and Downton star Samantha Bond, Martine's entertainment guide for you for the weekend with Martine McCutcheon. But first, famous for her role in the 80s drama Howard's Way, we've got the actress and the model Sally Farmiloe Neville. She was dealt a devastating blow a couple of years ago when in May 2012 she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
And Sally then underwent surgery, and she believed and hoped that she had beaten the disease, but sadly just a year later she received the devastating news that it had come back. And it's amazing that you're joining us here, because you have to have special permission, really, don't you, Sally, to come out of
We don't normally
hospital.
have guests who come out of hospital to be interviewed and then go back into hospital.
Well, I've taken my tag off, you see. I put a bracelet on instead. I am actually an inpatient at the Royal Marsden at the moment, but they let me come and go a bit. As long as I'm back by 10 o'clock, I don't turn into a pumpkin.
And you have to go back because they're monitoring you, or you have been doing
They're monitoring me at the moment. I've got liver cancer, and I've got something called an ascites, which is a swelling, which you can see here, which people think are pregnant. At the moment, I've got 5 months.
That's very common. That's the build-up of fluid, isn't it? And
exactly.
And they have to drain that periodically.
They have to drain it regularly, which is a horrible experience. I've had about 5 drains now, and it's absolutely beastly. So they're monitoring that, and they're hoping that they may be able to control it with pills rather than the drains, which have to come in and out. And if that would be possible, that would be great, because at the moment I'm sort of stuck with the drains and I can't go abroad or anything, because I have to take loads of bottles with me to drain it. You have to drain it into something.
And how, it's not a stupid question, but how are you actually feeling today, for example? Is every day different? Are you tired?
Well, I feel wonderful. I mean, I'm still here, as Maggie Thatcher used to say, and that's an advantage, because I was dying. I was dying in the hospital. I had a completely toxic liver, and I didn't know. I was high as a kite on morphine. I was hallucinating. I thought I was on Michael Portillo's show being interviewed in my hospital gown. I thought there were foxes climbing up the wall of the hospital. I thought my third cousin, Vivian from Milwaukee, was flying in through the window wearing a red coat. Maybe she was something to do with the harms, I didn't know. And my poor family and close friends, I feel so sorry for them, because they must not have known what to do, because I wasn't making any sense. And I'm very lucky. I'm at the Royal Marsden, the best cancer hospital in the world. I'm being looked after by Professor Ian Smith, who is the head of the whole of the breast cancer unit. And he's tried various things on me. We tried 2 chemos, because my cancer actually came back within 4 months. 4 months, and that hospital said it was almost unique. It's very, very bad luck.
When you have an operation, and you had your initial cancer operation on your breast, and it was diagnosed, how closely do they monitor you after that for it coming back? Are you monitored every week, every month, every year? What happens?
Very close. I mean, you have 3 months checkups. You can have more if you want. What I did wrong, and what I want your viewers to know, is that if anything goes wrong whatsoever, if you've had cancer or any bad illness, is go to the hospital immediately. I didn't, because I felt sick. I just felt nauseous. I'd done my first full day of modelling since I'd been cured, I thought. And I started feeling sick, and I was sick for several days. And instead of going into the hospital, I thought, well, I'm not very sick. There's very sick people there they're looking after. And by the time I did get round to it, I was too ill to go to the doctor. The doctor had to come to me. They took me in. I had hypocalcemia, which is something to do with I think it's the calcium. Something was wrong with my calcium levels. And while I was there, they diagnosed me, and they said, the good news is you haven't got brain cancer, you haven't got spine cancer, you haven't got lung cancer, but your breast cancer has metastased into the bones and the liver.
No, that was diagnosed as terminal cancer.
Yes.
And you've got to live now with that sentence. I'd just like to know how you deal with that. Do you fear death?
Oh, yes, I do. Even though I'm a Christian, and my lovely vicar comes around and sees me regularly, especially when I'm going to have the draining, which I hate, it's so painful. They have to give me an anaesthetic now because I'm such a wimp. I do fear death, and I don't want to leave my family, and especially my daughter Jade, who's my rock and who I'm doing everything for. And it's really, our roles have been reversed since I've been so ill. It's like she's the mother and I'm the child, because I've been so weak.
Sure.
And she's grown up a lot.
When you are feeling so weak and so ill, it must be very easy or very tempting sometimes just to think, oh, do you know what, I can't be bothered to fight this anymore, I'm so tired. What keeps you
You have
strong?
those moments, and when I was first diagnosed, I was lying in the hospital bed planning my funeral, and I thought I'll have 6 black horses with black plumes on. And then I saw Roger Lloyd Pack's pink hearse the other day in the paper, and I thought that looks like a relation of the car that we had when we got married, Jeremy and myself, 12 years ago. I think maybe I'll have that, is it? But then the next day, I think Prince George was born at the Lindo Wing, and I remembered my Jade being born at the Lindo Wing, and then that made me get up and go and think, no, I'm not going to die, I'm going to fight this.
And through all this, Sally, which I find incredible, you've been so unwell, you still have found time, made time, found the strength to write this all down. What are you hoping that people, when they read this, will get from your experience?
Well, people who've read my book, my Left Boob, A Cancer Diary, have said that they've been very inspired by it, because it's not just about my cancer, breast cancer. I've interviewed all sorts of different people about different types of cancer. And the fact that I've got quite a light-hearted title, I hope, will tell people that it's not an all gloom and doom cancer book. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and, you know, to fight on. And you never know when there's going to be more cures around the corner. Every day
that's true.
There may be a cure. And Professor Smith has got me on this wonderful chemo at the moment called eribulin, which apparently is made from sea sponges, so it must be quite sort of natural. And he thinks that that's what has turned the corner for me, because one minute I was dying in the hospital, then I was out. I was pretty bad for a couple of weeks. I went into the care of Trinity Hospice, and the lady there who sort of runs it, Nicola Swan, who's very, very knowledgeable, put me on steroids, a very low dose steroids, because at the time I was just sleeping the whole time. I was sleeping all day, I was sleeping all night. I couldn't go up there, I had to crawl up the stairs, I couldn't walk. And I don't think the steroids have hurt me, and they've kept me going. And after about 2 weeks I started to get a bit better, and I think you've got to help yourself. You mustn't just rely on the medics.